Well, good morning, Master Builders. I'm super excited that you are here this morning. Welcome to forum number 7, how to brand your business, how to brand you. You've got a message. Your business is important. Everybody needs to know about it. And this morning, we're going to learn how to help expand your territory and get exactly in front of the people that you need to get in front of in order to take your business and to take you to the next level. So here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and share this information, share this forum with someone that you know that has a business or someone that you know that has an important story that needs to get out. So go ahead and share that right now. Go ahead and drop us some comments, some good morning, some love. Go ahead and give that to us. So now that you've shared, let's go ahead and open with a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for what this weekend means to the believers. Thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you that we are clothed and in our minds. And I just pray that you just help us to receive this information that you would have for us to know and that you would have for us to understand. Please forgive us for our sins. Please forgive us for the times that we have failed you. And I do want to remember Kurt Carr this morning. I pray that you would just completely heal his body. And I pray that you would just do miraculous things for him in the days ahead. Now, for us today, help us to focus in, help us to get exactly what you would have us to understand. And I have not seen nor ear heard what you have in store for those that believe. Thank you for all that you've done for us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. So let's jump into our core values. What do we stand for here at Master Builders? So our core values are developing people, building businesses, and establishing financial futures. Now, go ahead and put that back up on the screen and let's go over our MBA core values. Now, if we were in person, I would say them and you would repeat after me. So let's go ahead and do that. And note to self, we are getting ready. We are going to be back in person because we need one another. Okay, number 1, be punctual, be dependable, be excellent, be detailed, be passionate and motivated, be optimistic and positive, be hungry and studious, be supportive, be benevolent, and be ethical. All right, so be passionate and motivated. So what is it that motivates you? What is it that drives you? What is it that gets you up out of bed, right? And I was thinking about this because sometimes I run into people and they just don't quite get, they're not really passionate about anything and they're not really motivated about anything. And I'm like, well, why is that? So here are a couple of things that I think are if you lack passion or if you lack motivation. Number 1, your why isn't big enough. Like, your why should motivate you to action. Like, what is it that the Lord has laid on your heart to do for other people? It's not about you. Like, getting up this morning to get ready for 8:30 in order to come and present something to you, it's not about me. It's about helping you. Like, I prayed for you. I prayed to help encourage and inspire someone out there today. So this might be for you. So don't it shouldn't be all about you. If you lack motivation, chances are you're focusing on yourself instead of focusing on who you can help, who you can inspire, and who you can encourage. And then, secondly, I think if you lack motivation, you're the smartest person at the table. You don't want to be the smartest person at the table. You want to surround yourself with people who are further along in this journey than where you are. So let's say you want to be a millionaire, then hang around millionaires. If you want to be a multimillionaire, then hang around billionaires. Like, you should always be hanging with people who are ahead of you. Why? Because that will continue to drive you, that will continue to motivate you, that will continue to encourage you, and that will continue to give you the passion and the desire to do what the Lord would have you to do. So, what world problem can you help solve? What wealth can you leave to the next generation? And so when you answer those questions, that should inspire and motivate you to take some action. As Sister Andrea would say, some massive action. So here's what I want to leave you with. Ask God to give you a burden for a problem that he wants to use you to help solve. Let me say that one more time. Ask God to give you a burden for a problem that he wants to use you to help solve. So be passionate, be motivated, keep encouraging one another. And remember, it's not about you, it's about other people. It's about who you can help, who you can inspire. And when you take the focus off of self, then that will help you to be passionate and motivated for other people. That's what I got for you today. Let's get into this forum with branding and learning how to brand you. Why do we need to be the chief executive officer of our marketing team? Why do we need that? So let's get some answers. Let's go.
Good morning, Master Builders. Good morning. It was a good word by Dana this morning. Figuring out what your why is when you are unmotivated. What is your why? Kevin Durant, one of the greatest athletes in the world, he has a why behind why he goes so hard, why he steps on the court. When it's not about the money, when it's not about own personal vendettas or achievements. There's a why behind everything you do, and it should be what drives you to wake up in the morning to get after it whenever you don't feel like it. Welcome to Master Builders Forum number 7, Brand Your Business. You in for a treat. Branding your business is one of the most important things when going out into business, going out into this world. You are your brand anywhere you go. And today we have a treat for you guys. We're going to talk to you about how to brand your business, and everything we talk about also applies to how to brand yourself. Our first speaker started in radio when she was 16 and now has just under 4 decades of experience in branding, marketing, public relations, and promotions. Susan is an account director at Red 7E, an agency here in downtown Louisville that has been around for 50 years, helping hundreds of clients such as Churchill Downs, Kentucky Farm Bureau rebrand. Today, she's going to talk to us about why it is important to brand your business and what steps you and myself can take to do that now. Susan, y'all help me join Susan to the stage and give you some good keys on how to brand your business.
Good morning, Master Builders. I'm so excited to talk about this. Hey, thank you very much for joining me this morning. Thank you for joining Master Builders. Remember, we are here for you. I don't know if you guys know, but Dejan is the stock guy. If I have questions about stocks, I call him. We have people here who specialize in so many different things and so many different professions. And we're here for you, and we're here to help you be successful. So I just want to start off by telling you I'm the account director at Red 7E here in Louisville. I've been doing this, honestly, I'm turning 55 at the end of this month. So I've been doing this a long time, and it's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever known, because I can't wait to get up in the morning. This is what I love to do, is to brand, to do advertising, to do copywriting, whatever it takes to make a client successful. I can't wait to get up and do it in the morning. So I can't wait to talk to you about this. And so I'm going to talk to you today about branding and why it's important for your business. Can we put our slides up, please? I like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. So I can tell you that when I started, we didn't even have fax machines, okay, much less the internet. So everything in my business has changed dramatically over the time that I've been doing it. So one thing, though, that really hadn't changed that much is branding. It's extremely important, and it's extremely easy to do once you kind of get the gist of it. And when I say this, I say you really have to be honest with yourself when you're thinking about your business, when you're thinking about yourself, when you're thinking about your values. Just take that into account. Can we go to the next slide, please? Because I want to talk to you about exactly what branding is. branding is what defines your business. If you're talking about your perception, like when somebody's in another room and they say, "Oh, have you heard about the Galt Hotel?" What comes to mind? That's their branding. Whatever it is that's coming into your mind about that hotel or about that restaurant that you loved that you went to. Oh, so and so said it was great. It's all part of your branding. Can we go to the next slide, please? It's all about what defines your business. And it's the same for yourself. It's what defines who you are, your branding is. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you. It's the image people have in mind when they think about your products, your services, and your activities. That's going to be important. So stay tuned for that. For example, when you see the twin spires, you think of Churchill Downs, right? My boss actually created that because they went to some big agency in New York to get it done, to get their new logo and all this other stuff. They didn't like anything. And he said, you know what? You got to think about it in terms of the swoosh from Nike. You see that swoosh, you know what it is. Churchill Downs needs the same kind of branding, and that's what they did. They put the twin spires there. But when you think of, let's talk about Nike for a second, because that's something we all know. When you see that swoosh, it's more than just Nike that comes into your mind, isn't it? It's about athletes. It's about athletes that never give up. It's about messaging, about never giving up, and about sticking it out. It's a quality product. We all know that. It's an expensive product too. We all know that too. That's all part of their branding. And it means so much more than just athletic programs, athletic clothing and stuff. It's all about their brand. It's all about what they stand for. It's the same with Target. Target, I think, is one of the greatest branding achievements I've ever seen. And here's the reason I say this. Target, as you'll recall, was in competition with Kmart and Walmart. I mean, it was just really the three of them. And they were all fighting for the same audience. But Target became more than just that bullseye they created. They found a way to differentiate themselves from Walmart. Kmart just kind of went off the table. But Walmart is still the low price, and that's their branding, and it's a good branding for them. But Target found a way to take these products and make them look really hip, really cool, to the part where people call them Target, because they're considered a more upscale place to shop. So that's an example of great branding. And now let's talk about Disney. Disney is the king of customer service. These people get customer service. I mean, let's face it, if you've ever been to Disney, the expense, I mean, my goodness, it's a mortgage payment. It's insane how much it costs to go to Disney. But what they do and what they provide is they have to continue to provide something that great in order to get you to keep paying. But the part I want to talk to you about here is I said products, services, and activities. Activities are important, especially in this day and age of social media. If you know, Disney recently voiced their opposition to what was the Parental Rights and Education Act. And said that they were going to incorporate more LGBTQ storylines in their features. No matter how you feel about it, okay? No matter how you feel about it, it's now part of their brand. So when you take a stand like that, and I always tell my clients on social media, if you're going to get into politics, remember, you're going to cause waves. And if you don't want politics to mix into your business, if you don't want that to be part of your brand, keep it out. Just keep it out. If you do want it to be part of your brand, great. But understand that there are consequences to it. And Disney's finding that out right now. And Nike's been controversial too. I mean, but it's all part of their brand. So I want you to understand that branding is so much more than a logo or a name or anything. Can we go to the next slide, please? It's about the name of your business, your logo, what colors you use, what fonts you use, right? You probably never thought of that. But the most important thing is the messages that you use to draw customers in. I want to tell you a story about the name of a business. I had to go into an area, kind of an eclectic area in Houston when I lived there. And there was a shop there called the Blue Hand. And I always remembered thinking, that's kind of a neat name. It's got a little blue hand on the sign, but I don't have any idea what these people do. And week after week, I had to wait there for my son, and I would see that sign and I always think, maybe I'll go in there. But I was afraid to because I didn't know what they did. And if you're not putting something about what you do in the name of your business, you're going to lose customers. And here's the other thing I want to tell you, and I know a lot of you do this, and please don't get angry with me. For goodness sakes, don't use your initials. Nobody remembers your initials. Please stop with that. Please get creative. Think about things that are kind of different and neat. The name of my company here, I wore my sweatshirt so you could see. Red 7E. It's a little odd. It's a little off, but people ask us about it all the time. Hey, what does that mean? We've been around long enough now that people know what we do, but they always want to know the story behind it. And so it's a nice way to, to start up a story, but think of things that kind of go with what you do. Your logo. What does your logo say? One of the things I always tell my clients is look at what your competition's logo is. All right. If all of your competitors use blue, don't use blue. Use gold. Use pink. Use something. But make sure it stands out. Make sure it says what you are, and make sure it's not obscure with cursive and things. Gen Z can't even read cursive. So make sure your logo is very bold and very, it's right out there for everybody to see. The colors you use, just like I said, if everybody else is using blue, use red. Use something different. What fonts you use. Fonts, as odd as it sounds, your fonts need to talk about who you are. And so you really need to look into things like this. Now, one of the things I told you at the beginning was how much this has changed, how much the way we can get our message across has changed, especially with the internet and everything. The great thing is now, if you want a logo, you don't have to hire, you don't have to go out and hire an ad agency or anything. I shouldn't say those things, but you don't have to hire us to do it. You can go on Fiverr and find somebody to come up with, and usually what they'll do is for, I don't know, $100, they'll come up with 5 different logos for you to choose from. And you figure out what it is that you like. And there are other websites like that. I've found Fiverr to be very trustworthy, which is why I recommend it. It's FIVERR.com, Fiverr.com. And you can get people to do logo for you. They can do your website. There's really inexpensive ways to get these kind of things done. The final thing I want to talk to you about is the messages that you use to draw your customers. That's kind of like what you hear at the end of a commercial or something. You hear those, you hear a message from somebody. Those messages are very important. One of the things we do when we brand our client is we give them basically an entire page of different messages to use. That way they can use them for outdoor, they can use them for direct mail, they can use them in radio ads and television ads, whatever it is they need, but it helps define who they are. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so this is just some examples of some different logos. There's wordmark logos like Visa, Google, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's been around forever. And it's really kind of fun if you go back and look at all the different Coca-Cola logos there have been to kind of change with the decade, with the times. It gives you an idea of it's important to kind of keep your logo not too fancy, not too crazy, and not too hip. And the reason I say that is you don't want to have to rebrand yourself every 10 years. Coca-Cola can afford it. That they don't really care. But for the rest of us, you want to do something that doesn't look dated. And that happens a lot when you look back at a logo and you go, oh, that looks, if you remember, Southwest Airlines was created in the early 70s and they used like a brown. Brown was really big then. Brown was big through the 70s, but when the 80s came around, brown was out. So they needed to change all that. But you can see lettermark logos like HBO, IBM, CBS. Those are great logos because it says exactly who they are. But my favorite is the pictorial mark. If you can get away with that, if people can just see your Nike swoosh or your towers, the twin spires at Churchill Downs, or the Apple, or Target, as we said earlier, then that's a pictorial mark. That's when you hit the high mark on your logo. When you have something that people see and they go, Oh, yeah, I know exactly what that is. I don't even have to, it doesn't have to say Nike under it. I get it. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? I want to show you something that we just recently did for a client. He is a logistics company. Now, a logistics company, these are the people who they work with trucking companies, and they get loads from Amazon, UPS, whatever. And the truckers call them and say, "Hey, what do you got?" And he'll say, "I've got one going to Salt Lake City and back on this date, and this is how much I can pay you." That's what a logistics company does. So we went and looked at other trucking companies, other logistic companies. One of the biggest problems that trucking companies have is they've got kind of the same reputation that, unfortunately, some car dealerships have, that, not trustworthy. They aren't on the up and up all the time. So we went a whole different direction with running ox. We went with, you're tired of the bull, run with the ox. Oh, fun fact, oxes don't really run, but this is what this guy really loved. And we loved making the logo. It was a very fun logo. One of the biggest reasons he wanted it was because he loved to say, "Put your box on the ox," meaning, your truck box. And, it works. It's funny. It's cute. Bold new logistics company is now up and running. Not just another freight broker, a whole new animal. Now, I want you to look at a couple things on here. Look at the color. We didn't go blue. We didn't even go close to blue. You put that on a billboard, everybody's going to see it. You put that on an ad someplace, everybody's going to see it. It's nice and bold with that yellow. Our little ox is so cute. He actually runs. We have an animated version. And you can, that's another thing you can do. If you want an animated version of something, Fiverr, tons of animators on there. They'll do it for practically nothing. But we have our little ox runs on on all of their emails. But look at the font. The font is odd, isn't it? But it says what they do boldly, but without being in your face. It backs away a little bit. So it's a really nice font to use. And that's why I say it's important. Something as silly as a font. Now, the other thing you'll notice is that the font in the logo and the font on the ad are very similar, if not exactly the same. That's important. You don't want your fonts fighting with each other. Okay. And you also, these are very long. Normally, especially for a billboard, I would never do this, because you just wanted to say "run with the ox," or logistics company is up and running, or something like that. You just want it very simple. People can read 3 or 4 words when it's on a billboard. Plus, people don't have the attention span they used to. You think about it. You go on Google. If you don't find it on the first page, you're done, right? You don't go to the second page, the third page, the fourth page. People don't take the time anymore. So make sure you keep your message very short, very sweet. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. Why is it important to brand? What your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. I think that's one of the greatest quotes ever. It's your name. It's your visual identity. It's your tone of voice. And just like I talked about before, it defines your values. It's very important. You want your brand to stay clean. You want your brand to be about your business. And then I want to go to the next slide, please, because this is and I know I keep saying this is the most important part, but this is my favorite thing. And the first thing I always ask all of my clients, as soon as we get to the next slide, what is your USP? Your USP is your unique selling proposition. And what that means is, what are you doing different from everyone else? What are you doing better than everyone else? If Joe Lunchbox is, and by the way, Joe Lunchbox is like that used to be our little competitor. Joe Lunchbox is your competitor, and he's making blue widgets and you're making blue widgets. What's the difference between your blue widgets? Is your color blue different? Is the quality of your widget different? Do you have the low price widget? Do you have a way to deliver that widget that's a little bit different? So you have to think about what that is. I want to give you an example. Gallery Furniture, you probably heard of them. They're out of Houston. Mattress Mac. You've heard of Mattress Mac, right? And his slogan is, "Gallery Furniture really will save you money." Well, let me tell you something. Gallery Furniture ain't gonna save you any money. It really isn't. It's a great slogan, but it's not. Here's what he does better than anyone. And by the way, before you say, "Yeah, but he's big and he's a millionaire," this guy started selling mattresses on the side of the road. Okay. He's a multimillionaire today. who does nothing but give back to his community and sell furniture like nobody's business. So with Gallery Furniture, when you buy a dinette set, that dinette set is in the warehouse behind him. And he is going to get that dinette set to your house by 8 o'clock that night. That's what he does better than anyone else. When you think about it, if you go to a furniture store, and especially now with our supply chain issues, if you wanted a table tomorrow for Easter dinner, if you realized you looked around and went, I don't have enough room for Aunt Josie, what am I going to do? You can go to Gallery Furniture right now, buy a table, and he will deliver it to your house by 8 o'clock that night. And let me just tell you how good he is at this and how long he's been doing this. I had a friend who ordered a couch, lived in an apartment. They brought the couch and the couch wouldn't fit through the door. They broke the window, got the couch through the window. Within 15 minutes, a glass company showed up, fixed the window, and they were gone. That's what this guy does. He does it better than anyone in the world. If you buy a set tonight, you're going to get it that night. Now, is he going to save you money? Maybe, maybe not, probably not. But at the end of the day, you're going to have your dinette set and you're not going to have a 12-week back order slip, which is what you're going to get from a fancy furniture store. So that is his unique selling proposition. What is yours? This is the most important question I can ask you. What is it about your business, about yourself that makes you unique? And I'll give you another example just very quickly, because Gen Z, the one thing I found about Gen Z and what impresses me about people like Sarah Ford and like Dejan and Judah Ford and these kids that are working in Master Builders right now is that Gen Z is lazy. Okay, I'm just going to say it right out loud. Customer service is not their thing. Customer service right now would make you stand out like nobody's business because nobody's doing it. And if you've flown recently, you'd know that customer service is pretty much out the window. So, okay, can we skip ahead, please, to not the next slide, but the slide after? There you go. Let's talk about questions to ask. This is how I want you to determine your brand. Watch these questions. What business are you really in? You need to define your company's identity. Because Gallery Furniture is in the furniture business, yeah, but they're not like a typical furniture store. They're in the delivery business. They're in the get it now business. Who's your target market? Chances are you have more than one. And it's not about you. It's about your target market. You may want to, I had a client once who called me and said, I have this great idea. I want to advertise in overnights, and because he had narcolepsy. And I said, okay, fine. How many operators are you going to have standing by when people call overnight? Oh, I'm just going to have them leave a message on the answering machine. I said, they're not going to like that. And then the next morning, you're going to call them and you're going to wake them up. It's not about you. You have to think about your customers. Okay. Think about your customers. It's about your market. Interview members of your target market. Find out what they like. Find out what they love about your product. Find out what they don't like. Find out how you can get better and what changes and trends are affecting your industry. These days, inflation, supply chain, there's so many things that are getting in the way of the industry. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? So the formula I just gave you works for you, your personal brand, and your professional brand. So remember that. And the other thing I want to tell you is we're always here for you here at Master Builders. If you have questions or anything, you can contact me. You can contact anybody, and we'll make sure that you get my email and everything. It's just susan@red7e.com. And you can do that. And can you go to the final slide? So I just want to say, this is in conclusion. I know I've talked a long time, but I get so excited about this stuff. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. So make the right first impression. Represent your values to your customers. Create loyalty among the customers and pride in your employees, because they can say, hey, I work there. You know what I mean? If you're giving the right branding message out, they're proud to say I work there. I'm very proud to say I work at Red 7E. I'm very proud of the work we do. And it's going to make it easier for you to advertise if you want to do that. And also, finally, and most importantly, it's going to increase your profits. So thank you very much. Thanks for letting me present to you. I'm sorry I talked a little long, but I had a blast. And like I said, any questions you have, feel free to ask. I know Dejan's going to ask me some questions. Oh, it's Dana. Even better. Hey, Dejan. Okay, I'm having trouble hearing you. I'm having trouble hearing Dejan. Dana, you're on mute.
There you go. Dejan, I think you're on mute.
Dejan, we think you're on mute. Okay, I don't know where you went.
Okay, all right. Awesome, Susan, that was amazing. So for someone who is just now getting started, what would you recommend? I know you provided a lot of questions, but if, let's say I want to start a new business and I know that I need to brand myself, I know what I need. So what would be like the next, like the 1, 2, 3s of what I should do next?
The first thing is your unique selling proposition. That is the most important thing. What makes you stand out, and figure out what that is first. The second thing I would say is a website. And like I said, Fiverr is a great place to go to put that together. And then you can do, and also your logo, very important. The website and logo I'm going to put over here for right now, because what you want to do first and foremost is figure out what you do better than everyone else, and what you can do better. Where do you need to improve? And who's your competition? Look at your competition. I know I'm kind of going all over the place because I do that, but figure out what your unique selling proposition is, figure out who your target audience is, and figure out who your competition is, and then figure out how to beat them. That simple.
All right, that's good. And then you said something interesting that I was curious about. You said quit with using the initials. So why the why? Because I was thinking about using my initials. So I'm glad you said that. So why is that so bad?
Nobody remembers your initials. They'll go, it's JTM Productions. No, it's JMT. Are you sure it's JMT? I thought it was MTJ. Nobody remembers except for you, because you know your name. Come up, I did have a friend who did this, and I thought it was a good idea. His initials were SWG. So he named his company Swig. Okay, Swig I can remember. But SWG, if you did that, I'd be like, huh? What do they do? Talk about what you do. Talk about, I remember a friend of mine, we were going to put together a branding program for this Honda dealership, and they wanted to be renamed. And he said, I want it to be Affordable Honda. It says it in the name. You think you're going to save money when you get there. Affordable Honda. That makes sense. We did this with another car dealership in Raleigh, North Carolina. The guy's name was Raleigh Toyota. And we went around asking people, where's Raleigh Toyota? And they're all like, I don't know what that is. We renamed it Fred Anderson Toyota. Everybody knows who Fred Anderson is now, and they're all over the country. It's just gigantic now. But we rebranded it so that people could remember the name. You want to remember the name.
Awesome. That's good. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Dejan.
Hey, I don't know what happened there, but I'm back. I'm good.
There you are.
Susan, you did an amazing job. A lot of people don't know, when it comes to starting a business, this information is what you need to at least get a jump start to figure out what it is that I'm going to be doing, who I'm going to be marketing to, what should it look like. And I have a couple questions for people that may not know. You talked about determining your brand and what defines your business. Somebody watching, how do I determine what defines my business?
Okay. So when you're doing that, just like I said to Dana, first of all, figure out what you're doing, who your target audience is, and who your competition is. That's going to help you to define what you do and what you don't want to be. What you want is something that reflects your values. That's the most important thing to me. It's the most important thing. And I think it is to our clients too, is we want to reflect a very good quality business. We want to make sure there are things called marketing bridges. And a marketing bridge is, I've opened up my new store and it's really great, but I only have 3 parking spaces. That's a marketing bridge. That's something that needs to be solved before this business opens. You need to have all of your ducks in a row. Don't just start a business and hope everything goes, because if you screw something up, nobody forgets it. So when you start a business, try to make sure everything is in place. Think of everything that you want, and that's going to define who you are. The most important thing, like I said, though, is make sure it reflects your values. Make sure that your customer service reflects what you think your customer service needs to be and what your clients need to see from you. And make sure it's all in place. If you've got your cousin working for you and he's got a bad attitude, I got news. He's got to go. He's got to go. It's not that expensive to bring in. He's going to cost you money. Whereas if you bring somebody in and pay them a little bit more, they're going to bring value and they're going to bring you money. So you get what you pay for.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned values, because that goes right into my next question. Values is important when determining, how your business will operate, what we stand on, what we stand by as a business. I know what it directly correlates to values is mission statement. So talked about representing values. Can you to people that may not know, can you kind of explain what a mission statement is and what should go into determining those values in that mission statement?
Okay, I have a funny thing about mission statements, and I'll tell you why. There is a book out called Raving Fans, and it's all about how to brand, or how to write your mission statement and how to brand. It's an excellent book, very, very short read if you have time to read it. And I recommend you take the time. I think mission statements are, if you have one of those big old long mission statements, we stand for this, we stand for that, nobody cares. Okay, I'm sorry, nobody cares. Make your mission statement 5 words or less. The Houston Texans mission statement is create raving fans. Okay, now if they had a mission statement for how to put together a football team, it'd probably be better, but create raving fans. That's their whole mission statement. That's what they do. And when we were when I was with another company, they used to pay us to remember the mission statement, and it was kind of a big, long look at me. I think you come up with 3 to 5 words that say what you do. That should be your mission statement. I realize that not a lot of people agree with me on that, but read Raving Fans sometimes. It's a really good book. I'll actually put it up for people so that they can see it, but it helps you to understand that you need to get down to the nitty-gritty about what you do. You don't need to be all things to all people, and we love this and we hate this, and no, nobody cares. So come up with 3 words to 5 words that say what you stand for. It's that simple.
Yeah. That's awesome information. I got one more question, and then you can go. This is a lot of good, valuable information for people starting their brand. Last question I have for you. You talked about that catchphrase, that line that's gonna stick with you. Like Nike, just do it. Everybody that. What are some things to consider when determining that catchphrase? I know you talked about selling propositions and things like that. What do you need to consider when determining what my catchphrase will be so people can remember me after they drive past my billboard?
Well, I was just sitting here. As soon as you said that, I was thinking about there's a place down here that has dog treats, and they have Gangsta Dog. That's what's called, Gangsta Dog. And she has little cute sayings, when you go by. But I love the name Gangsta Dog. I think it's so cute. But it's a dog bakery. What I wouldn't do is use something that's hip right now. That's, if you're Nike, if you're McDonald's, how McDonald's had "I'm loving it." They've had "You deserve a break today." They can change. They have that kind of money. You need something that's simple, to the point, but not something that's going to date itself. That's the most important thing, is you don't want to be dated. I mentioned how when Southwest Airlines started out, they had girls in hot pants and brown was their primary color. You don't want to do that. You want for your catchphrase to be something simple, to the point, and it could be the same thing as what I'm saying with the mission statement. It could be that simple. With Running Ox, we just did, run with the ox. It's that simple. And a lot of people say, well, wait a minute, what is that? But all they have to do is look up the website and they can see everything. It's not all things to all people. It's a very niche market. But just keep it simple. That's really the main thing I'm going to tell you is keep it simple. Same with the logo. Keep it simple.
All right, and I have one last question for you as well, Susan. So if you are doing several different things, how do you decide which to pick to base your brand from, or how to incorporate all of it?
The way I do it is I call it tournaments. I put brackets with these things. And also understand that sometimes you can have more than one statement in your brand. We usually give our clients a sheet that has different, like you saw the 3 for Running Ox there. They all reflect that brand. So you don't necessarily have to do away with them. But if you're concerned about things, one of the things that I do, are I call them tournaments. I put 2 things in a bracket. The first one is I don't know. The first one is one kind of a saying that says something, and the second one is something completely different. Which one of those 2 do I choose? And that makes the next bracket. Same with these 2. That makes it, and then we're down to these 2. You know what I mean? So I look at it as brackets, and that helps me make the decision without going back and forth and back and forth. I don't want to do that. But you can have several different things that all have, as long as they all reflect your brand, that's what's important. It
So
just needs to.
Oh, sorry. I think, what if you have, like, if you do a lot of different things? So if you have this business and that business and that business, so what would be your suggestion for, do you have a specific brand for each business, or
Yes.
is there a way that you can kind of combine all of them into, this is me and I do all of these different things?
Well, if you want to do a brand for you, that's one thing, but I would separate your businesses, because if you have the same name, this is something that it's called line extension. If you have a name that does one thing, but it also does another thing, people are going to be confused about it. Your real estate business needs to have one name. Your, I don't know what, some other business needs to have another thing. It needs to have another name. Now, if they're related, and one is a real estate business and say another is a leasing business within real estate, okay, I can understand that. You can kind of keep them under the same if you're talking about a similar audience, a similar market. But if it's different audiences, I would go in 3 different directions. I really would. I would market and brand them all differently.
That's good. That's awesome. Thank you.
Susan came jam-packed with a lot of information, a lot of valuable
information.
For you guys to be able to take and start your own brand with. Thank you, Susan, for giving us that information. It was very, very helpful. I'm a part of Master Builders, and I take notes myself. This is some good information that whoever's listening, you just got away with a lot of information you can take and do what you do with it. So next up, we have John coming to the stage. We have John, who is a master builder. He is a master motivational speaker. He is a master marketing guy. He is awesome all around, a great mentor, somebody you want in your corner and want to be around. He's going to talk about becoming the chief marketing officer of you. How to become I'm going to say that again. He's talking about becoming the chief marketing officer of you, your own self. Y'all help me welcome John to the stage.
Hey, what's up, Master Builders? Hey, we in here again, over and over again. I'm blown away by what we're doing here at Master Builders. That was just one of the most premier marketing experts in the city of Louisville, who just dropped you a whole dump truck full of free game. And so you would be remiss if you didn't take that link, you don't even got to type it. You can copy the link, and I want you to send that thing out to some people who you believe could use some support on learning on how to market, how to get into it, and then how to be able to expand their marketing, branding, and their presence. And so thank you so much, Susan. Of course, big love to Dejan, Big love to Dana. You know, these are real, for real master builders, and we doing something special. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about, because Susan said something that was real powerful. She said that you should separate. She said that you should separate out your business marketing and the you marketing. So for today's purposes here, in this session, in this piece of it for you, we're going to talk about marketing you. How do we market you.inc? Somebody say it with me. Put that in the chat. Chat that up. Marketing you.inc. That's what we're doing. All right. So if I got some news for you, I got some straight up news for you. I want you to look. I got a news flash, because maybe you didn't know already that you are a business. Yes, that's a real deal, for real thing. If you ain't a old school master builder and been around for a while, you'll know that Master Builders is going to tell you that you are a business. Your business is called you.inc. Now, you.inc, what makes it so special is because it's a sole proprietorship. Now, let's look at the definition of a sole proprietorship here. All right. There we go. All right. Definition. It's a business that legally has no separate existence from its owner, and losses are taxed on the individual's personal income tax return. Does that sound like you? Does that sound like you? Well, guess what? You're already a sole proprietorship. You are a business. We think about ourselves as a business, not as an individual. Your cash flow, if you look at the money that you have coming in as revenue in a business and what you have left as the cash flow of your business, it's based around assets and liabilities. This is all very personal because you are a business. So say it with me. I am a business. I am a business. There we go. Now, the question of the day is, are you already marketing you.inc? Like, is this something you're already doing? I'm going to wait for a second. I'm going to wait for another second. I really want you to answer that question. Like, are you marketing you.inc? Well, what I want to tell everybody on here today is that you are already marketing you.inc. From the moment you came out the womb, you've been marketing that thing. But specifically now more than ever, I know that Susan told you what the definition of a brand is. A brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Let me give you some real stuff here. People have been talking about you since you ain't been in the room your whole life. And they gonna talk about you when you ain't in the room for the rest of your life. And for some of us, they're gonna be talking about us after we dead and gone. They're gonna be talking about us. But the question is, what story are they telling? Are they telling the story that they made up, or are they telling the story that you made up? But either way, they telling the story. And so what all this is going to be about is shifting from everybody else making up your story to you proactively and intentionally making up your own story. Let me tell you a little bit about this. I'm generally a private person. I'm generally a person, I don't want everybody all up in my business. I don't want folks to know what's going on. We've been trained, to move in silence and all this kind of stuff, especially in my community where I grew up. And some of you know this community where we ain't been big about bragging on ourselves, talking about different things. And we just don't say much about ourselves because it was looked at negatively if you said different things about yourself, especially good things about yourself, because seemed like it was always somebody there that wanted to tear you down a little bit, or was always a hater around, or so we just moved in small packs and we said, all right, this is my crew and all this stuff like that. I ain't worried about them. All those different things, because you felt like if you was known publicly or more people knew about you, that they would do things that would potentially harm you in some sort of way. I know that's how I felt. I was like, I'm going to be quiet. People thought I was shy for many years. I'm just going to be quiet. I don't want all the drama. I don't want all this stuff. And so we'll make up reasons for so many years. Some of it's cultural, that we allow everybody else to just assign whatever stories they want about us and who we are, what we value, the things that we desire to happen, the things that are important in our lives, the things we believe need to be put on display in a positive way. We'll keep all that stuff silent, or we keep it in very small groups. Now, what this is about is U.Inc. as a business is saying we need to get this message out here in a more robust way. What this is about is intentionally, come on with me, intentionally marketing who you are in U.Inc. And so we're going to go into some questions that we need to ask. Yeah, I like Sad Babyface. Let's go back to Sad Babyface for a second. Yeah, that's what most of us feel like when we really think about how well we've been doing with our marketing. If anybody got Sad Babyface, oh man, that's Sad Baby. We don't have to be Sad Baby anymore. We're going to ask ourselves some tough questions, but we're going to get through this thing together, y'all. We're going to be intentional about telling our story. We're going to be intentional about the things that we value. We're going to live a life of intentionality in the messaging and the things that we say. We're going to put it on display in a way that's meaningful and impactful for people. And I'm going to help you through this right now. If you tune in, give me about 10 good, matter of fact, give me about 10, 15 good minutes. And I'm going to take you through some questions that you're going to need to ask yourself that's going to take you through the thinking on how you can create a brand message about who you are and what you do that resonates with people, that you're going to be known for, that is going to elevate that you and every single thing that you do and everything you connected to, the things that you value and think are important, all those things are going to be put on display in a very powerful way if you start asking yourself these questions. And hopefully y'all ain't going to cancel me here on the internet, because I might share a few things about how this information came about in my life. All right, let's go to the next slide. So, making your marketing intentional. All right, intentional. Intentional is a good word, because we just got done saying that people are already talking about you when you're not in the room. This happens constantly. That's part of what's happening, because you can't be in every room at all times. So the question is, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? You can't be known for everything, but what do you want to be known for? And then how do you want to make people feel? Like now, hey, everybody who's listening to this now is old enough. Our days are numbered. We got a short time on this earth, and we keep talking about generational wealth and master builders. We keep talking about building legacies, and we talk a lot about financial points of all these different things. But how do you want the world to be a better place? How do you want your family to be a better place? What do you want to be known for? Have you ever really asked yourself that question? Do you want to be known for the shoes that you wore? Do you want to be known that they was a fly dresser? Do you want to be known for the nice, comfortable apartment, a house that you live in? Do you want to be known for the fancy hairdo you get every week, or the fly beard that you got with the beard juice all up in that mug? You know what I'm saying? That brother had the flyest beard of all time, because that's all I ever know. What do you want to be known for? Now, I'm not going to over spiritualize, but man, I want, when people think about me and I'm not in the room, I want them to know that John's walking with Jesus. I want it to be evident without saying it. I don't want to have to say it, but I want to leave the room. They're like, golly, man, there's something different about that guy. And then I want to leave the room. I want to be known for a person who actually gave a concern about people other than themselves. I want to be known for that. I want to be known for being a good coach to people. I want to be known for giving back. I want to be known for being able to be a good contributor. I want to be known for being a person who can add value in different situations in different ways, in a very positive way. I want to be known as a change maker. How do you want to be known? What do you want your obituary to sound like? Oh man, I'm saying it right out. When somebody's up there giving that speech, what should be in the speech? And they only got 3 minutes to get a speech. What should it sound like? And you want to start crafting that message now with the language that you use about yourself, but then also making sure that your actions match that. But how do you want to make people feel? Oftentimes what we see is a gap between the intentions that we have on the inside and the expressions that we have on the outside. So we're going to start off with that question. All right, and then let's go to the next piece right here, which I think is the most critical piece. And I'm going to tell you, this is a lot of free game. And so shout out to Brandpreneur. I got a lot of consulting work done. I would say over the last 2 years, just from a personal and business branding and coaching standpoint, it's probably been about $25,000, $30,000 spent on my behalf. I didn't spend all of it. So I'm thankful for some folks who did. But I learned some stuff in that. And so I'm going to share some of that stuff with you for free. So come on, look at this one right here. We might have to blow that up a little bit because I want you to see this thing. It's like asking you some questions. Who are you? These are 6 questions. You might want to write these down. Who are you? I mentor a lot of people. I mean, a good amount of people. And when I ask this first basic question, and we dig a little bit deep, 9 out of 10 people have no idea who they really are. They don't really know who they are, and they definitely don't know what they want. And so now I'm going to offer you this free mentoring to everybody who's out there who wanted a corporate coach, if you wanted a life coach, if you wanted a person who could just help you out as a business coach. The first question that you're going to need to answer, come with this answer, is who are you? What's your purpose? Why are you? What is inside of you that needs to be birthed out? What's that unique and special thing that your life is going to be driven towards achieving? Like, what is your fire on the inside? What is it all about? What is your purpose? Start right there. Every single thing that we do in marketing is an expression of our purpose. And if we don't have a defined purpose, then we'll let every single thing that we do and say will be defining somebody else's vision of what their purpose is. If all I talk about is sports, then I'll be known as a sports guy to a certain extent. If all I talk about is stocks, then I'll be known as a stock guy. If all I talked about was having relationships with women, then I would be known as a player. If all I talked about was teaching, then I'd be known as a teacher. But what is my purpose? What is the thing that's inside of me that I can match my messaging to that I want to do? Well, what if my purpose was to be able to bring the best out of others and help other people find their true gifts in life? What if that was my purpose? So what do you do professionally? This is another one. Like, what do you really do? And so we do some things professionally. We're still on the 6 questions. All right, so what do we do professionally? And then who do we do it for? Who is our target audience? And then what those people want and need. And so they have a problem. People have problems they need to resolve. So we have an opportunity to speak directly to the problem. And then there's an onlyness. So what's our unique selling proposition? And what will people get as a result? And so then after all that is, how do we tell that story? That's branding. That's branding. So if you write all that down and you get those 6 questions and then tell the story, then I guarantee you're going to have a masterful brand. But we're going to dig into a few of those here coming up. And so we can move into the next slide here, because I want to just kind of double click down on a little bit on this point of who you are. Now, with who you are, you got to ask yourself a few questions. And the reason is, I want you to have these questions because this is an exercise that we're taking you through. This is not something you're going to be able to look at John and Susan and then we just going to be able to get your whole brand together in an hour. It don't work like that. You're going to have to put in some work. But we're giving you a template today and some information today that if you follow up on and you actively put in some work, it's going to change your life. for a better. It's going to change your story. It's going to change the way things move in your life. And so who are you? What are your core values? Does anybody have core values? Anybody want to hear my core values? I'll share them. I don't mind doing it. I'm going to share my own core values. All right. So if I was going through my core values, what I would say is that change is always easy when it's your idea. I would tell you to untry, because if you're trying, that's lying. I'd tell you to tell the truth even when it hurts. I'd say dig the well before you're thirsty. That's a core value of mine. I'd say lifelong learning. To a man with only a hammer, every problem looks pretty much like a nail. That's why we have lifelong learning. You always find time for the things that are most important to you. That's a core value of me. This is my own personal stuff. You come up with your own core values. Say yes until you have to say no. You beat half the people just by showing up. I believe in my inside that every action is personal. Every action is purposeful. Every single thing you do is purposeful. Attitude reflects leadership. I truly believe that. If the attitude of a group is high, it's because they got good leadership. And if it's low, it's based on leadership. It's come back with results and not a story. I could go through more, but these are all core values. So don't steal somebody else's or borrow some from this person. But what are your personal core values? So what do you want to be marketed? What are the things that drive the uniqueness? And so what unique experiences have shaped who I am? Some of the unique experiences, I used to be over 300 pounds. And going from over 300 pounds to being 100 pounds less than that, I'm going to tell you right now, from going 321 down to the twos, I'm going to tell you that's a big transition. That shaped who I am. Becoming an investor, moving here. And some of the, matter of fact, being suicidal at one time and having depression and anxiety rule my life is a unique experience that shaped who I am. And how do I utilize that to be able to tell the story of who I am? So all the things that we've been through are here to build us up. The unique experiences I've had positive experiences. I've had some negative experiences. My experiences in college. I remember I had experience when I lost a full scholarship. That shaped who I am. My marriage to my wife, my kids have shaped my experience. Like, what are those things that make you who you are? And what am I most passionate about? What are my purposes? Like, when we think about what we're most passionate about, that's the message that we want to get out. We don't want to hide that thing. We want it to be bold and loud. And so we want to tell everybody about it. And so what is my purpose? What is my purpose and who am I? So start asking yourself some of those questions. And I guarantee you, it's going to unlock some things in your life. And if you really want to go to the next level, get somebody you love or care about and get them together, an accountability partner, and ask yourselves those questions, and then talk through it with some folks and begin to articulate the message and talk through it, and then write it down where it's visible so you can see it. I know it can be intimidating to write down who you are because we feel like we're so complex. We feel like if we write down who we are, it's going to put us into a small shell and that we're going to feel like we're minimizing who we are. But what I'm encouraging you to do is write down who you are in depth, write it all down, and then be able to see what makes you so unique, special, and different. Now, next is like, we want to stop being so complicated. It needs to be easy for people to find. It's like, what do I do? Now, I'm going to take all those wonderful things about who I am, and what's the one thing I want to be known for professionally? Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. So now we got pages and notes on who we are. We got this whole narrative on who we are. We pulled all this emotion and this life out of ourselves. But what's the one thing? What's the one thing you want to be known for? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I want to be known for a person who has belief. I want to be known for it. I want to be known for a person who believes. I want to be known for that belief, that I believe I can. I want to be known that I believe you can. That's what I want to be known for, is that he believed in a thing. By his faith, some stuff started moving. I want to be known for that belief because that makes me very unique. It makes me different than a lot of people. And so how can we make that easy for people to understand? And how do we message that over and over and over again? So let's go to the next one. Is who do you do it for? And so everybody ain't your audience. It's just like Master Builder right now. Everybody ain't on here like that. You probably got a lot of stuff. Who is the audience? You know, and so who are the people who are going to be able to connect to your message the most? I know when I talk about real estate, it ain't for everybody to hear it the way I hear it. But a lot of times the people who want to know about real estate that when we talk to are other couples. Me and my wife, we love to talk to couples about real estate. That's who our message resonates to. We're currently writing a book directly for couples who want to invest and do business and do real estate together. Like people who want to have wealth, but they don't want to do it as individuals. They want to do it together. You know, these people are probably going to be somewhere between the age of about 35 and 55. You know, they probably going to have some life experiences. They probably going to be from marginalized backgrounds in some kind of way or marginalized communities. And so that's who I'm passionate about serving. I'm passionate about couples staying together. I love it. I want to see couples stay together, but I don't want you just to stay together and be broke. I want you to stay together and have some resources. I want you to, for those couples who want to have an amazing relationship, and you want to be able to have some great time, the time benefit, and you want to also be able to have some resources to be able to give your time and resources to the things that you feel like are most important and the things that you've been called to do. I'm telling you, I'm so passionate about it that me and my wife spend hours and hours strategizing on how we can help people in this space. We spend time researching in this space because this audience is so important to us that when we die, we want to be known for helping 1,000 couples to become millionaires in their life. Like we want to be known for that. We want that to be part of the core of what we do. Does that resonate? And is that for everybody? Well, no, it's not for everybody. Is it important to us? Yeah, it's important to us. Who do you do what you do for? And be specific about it and have a great reason why. And there's nothing wrong with everybody's been called and has different gifts. So target your gift and it's going to make you more effective. All right. So with that being said, we're going to the next one. What is your brilliance and what is your superpower? You know, oftentimes we think we all that, or we don't think we this and that, but we don't know how we're brilliant and how we're special. We look at things as a weakness that are actually a strength. I used to look at my energy level as a weakness. And in the corporate environment, they used to tell me, John, you need to chill. John, you need to calm. John, you need to this. John, you need to, man, forget that. Until I embrace my brilliances, I'm going to let my light shine everywhere I go. And if you don't like it, this ain't the place that values me. I'm going to go somewhere that does value me. And then let your superpower shine. We can go to the next slide because I'm going to tell you my superpower. My superpower on the inside is to be an encourager. It's an absolutely, that's my superpower. And so when you're able to walk inside of your superpower 100% of the time, then you are going to be able to go to the next slide. Then you're going to be able to encourage people. You're going to be able to do whatever it is your purpose is. You're going to be able to do it bolder. You're going to be able to put it on display in a more powerful way. And you're going to be able to do some amazing things with that. And so what is your onlyness? What is your superpower? Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. All right. What it is. What is your onlyness? It's your superpower. The thing that you do better than anyone else. the thing that makes you different and special and unique. Now, once you find that thing, you gotta let it out to every single person. That's how you go market You.Inc. is you be the one who tells your story of who you are. Don't let people make some stuff up. And then you need to, now you've done all this self-discovery, all this self-awareness, this thing should be bubbling out of you. I can't wait to find somebody I can encourage. I want to encourage a couple. I want to encourage you all master builders. I want to encourage people to not have the biases of the past. I want to encourage people to change systemically in our world to become better people. I want every single person to be encouraged that there's things that you can personally do that will completely change your situation. And I know it to be true because it happened to me. And I know it to be true because I keep seeing it over and over again with other people. I didn't know that that was a superpower until I embraced it and said, I'm going to live in it in every single thing I do. I don't care. Where is Joy? If Joy, my wife, Joy Mays, would hear, she would tell you right now that I'll be in the middle of a business meeting with a CEO, shut it down when they say something that's self-deprecating, and then I'll tell them that they are who God says they are, and that they're going to be whoever God says they're going to be. Guess what? That's my life. I get to do that. And you know why? It's because I don't waver from it. It's because you do this exercise and it'll show you who your brand is supposed to be. And then you walk in it and live it every single place you go. Let your light shine like none other. You can do that. You have power to do that. If somebody says, man, I'm always going to be broke, I'm going to be like, you's a liar, and I'm going to tell you why and what you can do, and so you have the opportunity to be whatever it is that you have an internal calling and conviction as your purpose to be. So, and it's unique to you. And so it ain't gonna be what I do. And you can't compare it to what somebody else got going on. It's onlyness. It's your thing. It's the thing that makes you special. If you tuned into this as a master builder, you special. Who gets up on a Saturday and says, I'm going to listen to an hour and a half presentation on marketing? It's very few people. Who says I want to get better professionally? I want to make more money in business. Who says that I want to leave some generational wealth for my kids? Who says I want to live a more fuller and complete life and I'm willing to wake up and commit this time on a Saturday? A master builder says that. A master builder does. So there's some things inside of you that are committed to growth and learning. So now it's finding the unique things that make you special and targeting it, targeting the people who you want to impact the most, and going as hard as you can every single day to be able to bring positive change in those areas that you delivering value. We can go to the next slide. All right. So hence the birth of Johnny Mays, the I Believe I Can man. Now, you see this right here? This shout out to Susan. This is branding. For my personal purposes, I paid somebody to do this. Yeah, I paid a consultant. And so you can pay consultants to make the who you are even look good. So look at this. Johnny Mays, the I Believe I Can man. A thought is now on paper and it looks real good. That's a logo. It's a JM logo. It's sweet, isn't it? Yeah. And then the Johnny Mays, the I Believe I Can, you can do that on Fiverr. Somebody say Fiverr. So then once you find it, logo it up and then put it everywhere and tell your story. And we can go into that storytelling point in another moment. But I just want to let you know that I know for a fact that you can change the story and the narrative that's about you, because the narrative has changed about me personally, specifically over the last few years. And this happened because I found out who I am on the inside. And I've been able to express that boldly and openly on the outside. And when you're able to do that, you're going to turn into an amazing chief marketing officer for You.Inc. And your whole life and everything associated with you is going to go to another level. So I appreciate the time, Master Builders. Thank y'all.
First and foremost, John, I want to let you know that logo and the Believe I Can, man, that is straight fire, man. I love it. I love everything about it. It looks amazing, especially the logo. I love love the setup of that. But what you talked about, man, it is something that a lot of people who struggle with figuring out what they want in themselves, they can honestly take everything you talked about and go and improve their own self, which is definitely important when it comes to, self-improvement, growth, and also starting a new business. You talked about, what do you want to be known for? Making your marketing intentional. You even gave 6 questions every brand must ask, and that's something that is definitely important, especially with Dana. Dana talked about your what is your why? And that seems to be the common theme here, figuring out what your why is, why you do what you do, and what unique experiences you went through to determine what your why is. And that's amazing. Now, I think we should name the panel, what is your why? It should be, what is your why? Because that seems to be the common theme here. I got a question for you. I'm part of a men's group we do every Saturday. And you said something that struck my mind. You said in the men's group we talked about last Saturday, the negative stains that we've left on people that that looked up to us and we may not have known. When it comes to marketing yourself and people who may have been marketing themselves in a negative light unknowingly, how do they remove those stains and start to rebrand themselves?
I think that's real good. I'm glad you asked that question. That was actually a great question. I appreciate the positive and the love that you shared too as well. For me, I had to personally rebrand myself. And what it took was an apology. First off, I had to apologize to myself. I had to literally apologize to myself. Look, I'm sorry. Man, you ain't been putting yourself out there in a positive way. You're putting yourself out there in a negative way. I can remember when my brand was old school Chevys with loud subwoofers in it and weed smoke smell on my shirt. That was my brand. You know what I'm saying? My brand was, I was just to cuss you out if you said something crazy to me. That was my brand. My brand was, you don't even worry about asking me because you're asking the wrong person. That was my brand, and so I had to first apologize to myself, but then I also had to be able to apologize to some other folks. An apology goes a long way. Yeah, hey, y'all remember Domino's Pizza? Domino's was horrible. It was terrible for years. And then out of nowhere, the CEO gets on there and starts showing pictures of all these terrible pizza boxes that was up there. The pizza was cold. The sauce was awful. The deliveries was inconsistent. And then he said, look, I'm sorry about all that. We're going to do better. I promise. And guess what? Now, Domino's Pizza is like the #1 pizza company in the United States. There's nothing been growing faster. It started off with an apology and then doing better. And so I think that's a big piece of it, is from a branding standpoint, is being confident enough in who you are and who you are and what you want to do, what your purpose is, that you feel so confident in that you can apologize. But it's hard to apologize if you feel like you're going to continue to do whatever negative things that was. Or if there were some ways that you were putting yourself out there that you didn't want to do, if you feel like there's something in you that's going to keep doing that, then it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to move. And so the big part that I found is if you have purpose and that drive for something that is bigger than you, that push towards something that's future oriented, then it's easy for you to be able to recommunicate and rebrand yourself in a way that is going to be positive and helpful for people.
Awesome. And I'm glad you shared your previous brand, what it was. In that same men's group, Corey Robinson talked about how the people who took their brand, things that may have been picked on or bullied about, he himself had a speech impediment, and he struggled with words, and he took that and branded it. He took that, went and ran with it. He talked about how Anthony Davis, how the unibrow he took that, something that he may have been bullied with his entire life, took it and branded it. So a lot of the times, and I appreciate you for sharing that, a lot of the times what we've went through in our previous experiences is part of our brand now, because now we go back and help those who's struggling with the same, use that to be like, hey, I used to be like this too. So definitely.
Hey, can I add something else in, Dejan? Because that's a good point. I mean, I really want to highlight what you just said. It's like the things that we went through in the past is what makes our brand so unique and special, because other people haven't been through those things. Like if you haven't been 321 pounds paying $200 for shoes because you had plantar fasciitis so bad that you couldn't even stand up in the morning, and then you lose 100 pounds and then become a fitness enthusiast and start teaching fitness classes, and you rebrand yourself and go and get pictures taken, with the workout and start teaching workout classes, and you get certified to do some things with that, then you've completely rebranded. And now the story that I tell, I'm not a fitness enthusiast and a person who can help everybody. That's just not for me. But if you are morbidly obese and you want to get from one place to a place of energy and vibrancy in a way that's going to be sustainable and is going to last you for years to come, I got a story for you, and I got some things that I can share with you that's going to help you, And so that's part of that branding, is that I'm being able to speak directly to somebody else's pain because I've lived in that pain, or I've been closely, I'm passionate about seeing that pain go away from a certain population.
Yeah, that is so good. And that kind of leads into a question that I have, because I think it's so important to realize that you can change the narrative. And so you mentioned that, John, changing the narrative. So what would you say to someone who potentially, they are right now the person that they don't want to be, like they're not happy with themselves? What are some steps, some tangible steps that they can take so that they can change that narrative, so that they can become that future self?
Yeah, I think that's very powerful. And it's like branding happens when we believe that we have something worth telling people. And so when we talk about our value and who we are, and so that's why those 6 questions I shared are so meaningful to me, because it was hard. I think the reason I'm telling you this stuff is because I went through these exercises. It was difficult. It took me weeks. I had to sit there, literally, and I'm gonna tell you my journey and how I got there, but it was like prayer. It was a lot of fasting. I had to sit there and cry about it. Me and my wife had to walk and talk about it. I mean, this thing was like, this journey of self-awareness and who am I is difficult, because I had to go back to some stuff that my father told me. I had to go back to some stuff my mother told me. I had to go back to some experiences where I was in situations and it was just bad stuff that I did personally, that I got to find a way to get past that stuff that I did and not say in my mind, in the back of my head, you a fraud. No, this ain't really you. You got some stuff in the back of your head. I got a big fat guy in the back of my head right now saying, hey, you coming back, baby. Hey, it's just one day. You one buffet away. You missed it. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious. There's some stuff that's going on in the back of my head, and we got to be able to kill that thought. And the way to do it is through having purpose in your life. And so taking the exercise of finding your purpose and finding the thing that you are sent here and meant to do is the most valuable exercise that any person will ever take. And when you get to a good place with that, then an offset of that will be your personal branding. And I hate to tell you this is going to hurt. Anybody except in business, okay, you're doing something, you're putting some characters and some representations out there to be able to have the purpose of, creating some revenue. But I'm going to tell you right now, from a personal standpoint, a U.Inc. standpoint, if you putting out messaging out there about all this stuff right here, and you haven't found your purpose and your drive, then what you're doing is a whole lie, and it's performative, and you will be found out at some point. So I'm just letting you know that right now. So I know it's not a good, you know what I'm saying? That wasn't very motivational, somebody. But hopefully it tells you how intensely important it is to be able to know, so that you have a confidence on the inside. And that's how you get to that place. I believe you can. I believe you can find the thing that's unique and special to you, and that when you deliver it to somebody, it's going to change their life just like it changed yours. That's what I personally believe. And so it's not about being performative in order to be able to make people think of you a certain way. That's not what this is about. This is you knowing who you are, the value that you bring, and then putting it out there in a way that's going to be a blessing and a change and a positive influence on many communities all around the world.
That's awesome, John. I got one last question for you, man. One last statement, I guess. You talked about branding yourself professionally in a professional light. What do you want to be known for professionally? Kanye West, whenever he was coming up, he wanted to be known as the best dressed artist. That's what he wanted to be known for. He went on to do a deal with Louis Vuitton, came out with a Louis Vuitton shoe, went on to go with Nike, came out with a Nike shoe, went on to go with Adidas, started an Adidas shoe, went from that, started an entire Yeezy brand, went from going to do that to collabing with Gap and coming out with all of these, all because he wanted to be known professionally as the best dressed artist. And that one thing he wanted to be known for went from that to him starting an entire brand. What are some tips when determining in a professional setting, or what would you suggest how to figure out what do I want to be known for professionally?
That's good. No, that was daggone it, Dejan. You need to host these things all the time, man. Your questions be on point. That was great, man. All right, but I would say I do a lot of mentoring and coaching for people in a professional standpoint, like people who got jobs or salary jobs or career path type situations. And they like, well, how can I get from here to there? And, from a branding standpoint, it's picking a lane. A lot of times, we refuse to pick a lane because we scared. It's like we feel like we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves. We don't want, like, he could have pigeonholed himself. That example you gave about Kanye, he could have pigeonholed himself as best dressed, and people could have said, all right, well, I ain't really into that, or I'm not worried about how he dressed. And just not, like, that could have been a negative thing for him. But he took the risk of that being negative and said, no, I'm going to go all in on it. And then allowed the thing to be able to continue to grow. And so it's a lot of risk associated with going all in with your brand. It's because it's the risk of people not accepting you. And most people they believe that if they follow one course, that it's going to have a negative outcome. And so you have to have a belief system that says, this makes me special, and I believe it to the point where I'm willing to invest my time, my energy. And here's the biggest thing professionally is you have to be so passionate about something that you're willing to risk your reputation. Willing to risk your reputation. Like, a lot of us will risk a little bit of money. We'll risk a little bit of a lot of things, a little bit of time, a little bit of our energy, but we won't risk our reputation on one thing to say that, no, this is what I want to be known for. And because if you look at Kanye, he done wore some stuff that looked crazy in the mud. But you know what? He was willing to risk, and he had a lot of people say a lot of stuff about him. All throughout those periods, he had people throwing rocks at him. And he's one of the richest people in the world. And that's what it takes, because he was willing to risk everything in order to put that message out there. That's why I'm telling you, you have to be so internally convicted about a thing being special to you and that it's important to you, that you can weather all the people who are going to look at whatever that is and throw rocks at it. It's people right now out there in corporate throwing rocks at me. Man, forget John. He all that. He think he is. He not, man, I ain't worried about none of that. It's people in church who probably say it too. I ain't worried about y'all neither. It's people, I'm telling you right now, I'm on all kind of boards. I'm on all kind of businesses. It's going to be people who talk about you in everything you do. But that's why, if you know your purpose, you'll walk right through it like you're in the Matrix. Like, no, and I'll keep going, because what I got inside is so important. I got to birth it. I got to get it out. And it doesn't matter what comes this way. It can't hurt me. It's only here to help me to get better as I advance this purpose and advance and do positive things for many people to come.
Yeah, and to hit to your point, good information that he's given her, Master Builders Academy. To hit to your point, you talked about the risk of not being accepted or people not accepting you. To hit to it, and God, this is why I say this is valuable information, Master Builders, because John, have you ever called Kanye West and talked to him on the phone?
Never.
Have you ever watched any of his documentaries or anything?
I have.
You have. He talked about how he had to break down barriers in the fashion industry and not being accepted in order to get to where he is today.
Right.
That is 100% to hit to your point, 100% true. John ain't on the phone calling Kanye West, talking to him every night.
Right.
He knows what he's talking about, and I'm telling you, all the information that he gave here today on Master Builders, him and Susan, it is valuable information. Figuring out your why, Dana as well. I'll kick it off to Dana. Dana, you have any last questions for John before we let him leave?
No, you killed it. Yeah, I couldn't follow up a question after yours. Yeah, you did an amazing job. So yeah, great.
Well, I appreciate you, John. You did an awesome job. You hit on a lot. You talked about a lot of things that people can take away from this and even present to their own family and friends to be able, even if they never watch Master Builders, to be able to improve their own lives and to be able to grow themselves in whatever aspect that they choose to do to apply this to. But thank you, Master Builders, for joining us today. I'll kick it off to, I believe it's Dana that'll be closing us out. We will see you here in the next couple of weeks for the next forum. Enjoy your weekend and happy Easter to every single one of you guys.
Hi, it's Erica who's closing you out today. Exceptional. I came on here thinking branding, you're talking about your brand, but we found out we have to think about our customer. Came on here finding out that if you want to take your brand to the next level, you got to take yourself to the next level, get out of your way. And we've got some questions to ask ourselves before we come back together so that we can move forward and be a better brand all the way around. So thank you for joining us today for Master Builders Academy Forum number 7 of 2022. This was, like I said, exceptional. How to brand your business. But before we end, share this. Please share this right now before you let go. Now's not the time for you to log off. Now's the time to share this forum with, if you haven't already, which you should have been doing, share the forum with someone. They have to know this information. If they don't have a business, they have to know this for themselves so that they can rebrand themselves if they need to. But we also want you to be more involved with Master Builders Academy. And I want to offer you the MBA membership opportunity. To sign up, send an email to masterbuildersacademymba@gmail.com. masterbuildersacademymba@gmail.com. Or simply visit our website at masterbuildersacademy.org. Scroll down to where it says register now and click on Let's Go. Now for the opportunity to join Master Builders Academy. So we can go to the PowerPoint, please. So we have a couple of different membership levels. And that first membership level that we have is the Platinum membership. You will receive with the Platinum membership, which is $1,000 a year, a curriculum updated regularly, mentorship, coaching, that can be for business, finance, real estate. Master Builders Academy, regular scheduled forums 2 times a month. Masterminds 2 times a month. Invited to open board member meetings once a month. Access to the libraries, the forum, the PowerPoints, the handouts, everything you heard today. You need to go back, review it. Ability to bring a guest to the meetings. Annual MBA events. Ability to promote, market your business through MBA. A video promo of the members' businesses, and merchandise access. That's the Platinum level at $1,000 a year. The next level is the Gold membership at $500 a year. The curriculum is updated regularly. Group coaching, Master Builders regularly scheduled forums 2 times a month, masterminds 2 times a month, access to the library, ability to bring a person to the meetings, annual MBA event, business promotion and marketing through MBA, and merchandise access. That is Gold membership at $500 a year. Silver membership, $250 a year, $250 a year. Master Builders regularly scheduled forums 2 times a month, masterminds 2 times a month, access to the library, ability to bring a person to the meeting, annual MBA event, and merchandise access. We have another level, which is the student level, which is $50 a year. You have to be, that's up to 25 years of age, and you have to be currently enrolled in school. Perk is open to the board meeting. So you are able to come to the board meetings, and the Master Builders regularly scheduled forums 2 times a month, masterminds 2 times a month, access to the library, and the ability to bring a person to the meeting and the annual MBA event. We do have a new member today that we want to highlight. That is Christina Lang. She is a silver member. And Christina, we welcome you to Master Builders Academy. Everyone give Christina a hand for making the great decision of becoming a Master Builders member. Again, send an email to MBA@gmail.com. Pardon me. So the way we began was with prayer. We're going to end with prayer. So Lord, please let us begin to do the things that we need to do today to accomplish and be successful, and make some commitments towards branding our businesses and ourselves. Please help us to keep things in mind and continue to take action so that we accomplish what we need to accomplish. We know that we are still in a pandemic and our world looks different and functions differently than it did in the past. But we trust that you will bless us with thoughts, strategies, and plans to accomplish what we set out to accomplish. If we need to rebrand our business and rebrand ourselves, Lord, give us the ability to answer those 6 questions that we may be a better and more phenomenal brand than we were before. Lord, please watch over us and keep our families and us safe. Send healing to the sick and throughout the land. Help us progress and move forward and keep our eyes focused on you. In Jesus' name, amen. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful holiday. And we thank you. We'll see you back, and we'll see you at Masterminds on this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Thank you.